And
hope that helps.
Well, it does. I think that those are probably some of the questions actually that people maybe who either watch the debates or see the commercials that they're wondering, okay, what's the real person?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, you know, you've been in debates too.
Oh, yeah.
Passion. If you don't have any passion, I mean, really, you shouldn't be in this business. You got to get fired up.
You know, I do believe that citizens, when they're listening to debates or the forums, that they can tell when the answer is a plastic answer or is it an answer that is generated from some kind of a fire you have in your belly?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know, the thing is, when you're running in the 6th district, it's a very conservative district.
Yes.
I would not have wanted to have been in State Senator Terrell Clark's shoes. She's pushing a platform because of she was the progressive candidate, the liberal candidate. Al Tinklenberg was a blue dog Democrat. That'd be a little easier to push in the 6th district, but for her to have to toe that line, I mean, I got to feel confident what I'm selling.
Right.
And I could never do that because her platform didn't fit in the 6th district. And I tried to tell those Democrats that from the beginning.
Yeah.
But you know, so that's a tough battle. You know, you got to be passionate about what you believe in, and you got to feel that you can answer the question without tap dancing around it. Because she would tap dance around it because she didn't want to tick off the unions, or she didn't want to tick off Emily's list, or some of these big bucks that were donating to her. I couldn't be a candidate that way. My tongue would be bit off. You got to get in there and fight. You got to believe in what you're pushing, and you got to do it. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's take one of our video clips here of one of those advertisements, and then we'll come on back.
Yeah.
Ex-attorney, small business owner, mom of 5, and foster mom to 23 great kids. I know that nothing hurts our economy like high taxes. That's why I voted against bailing out Wall Street executives. It's why I've fought wasteful government spending and corrupt pork barrel projects. I'm Michelle Bachmann, and I approve this message because I want to work to make our economy strong so we can all have a better life.
And really, I think it doesn't really matter if it's Bachmann or Clark's, is that they all have the big hair. And I'm thinking, gee whiz,
what does she got?
When I run for Congress again, I'm thinking I'm going to have to change my hairdo. I'm going to have to get one of those big hairdos.
Well, that was
what do you think about that?
Well, there was 2 areas I could not compete with those women, and that was looks. They're both attractive women, you know, and money. So I didn't even bother. So now, if you get in there with these gals, yeah, you'd have to compete in those levels. I don't know about the money, but the looks, you could get in there and compete with them.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to get the, you know, just have, they all have hairstylists. They've got all the, whatever they do.
Yeah, that's amazing, amazing.
That's why I got mine cut short, and I told them, cut the gray out, and they just kept cutting. I said, stop.
There you go. Well, you know, and of course, every time that I come on the program here every Wednesday evening, well, you know, I got to do a quick brush through the hair because I haven't combed my hair since I woke up in the morning.
Well, you're a busy working gal.
That's exactly right. Who's got time for a stylist? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hey, let's take a look at another one of those advertisements, and pretty soon, I know we've got a couple of those backbiter ones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we do.
Wall Street executives. It's why I've fought wasteful government spending and corrupt pork barrel projects. I'm Michelle Bachmann, and I approve this message because I want to work to make our economy strong so we can all have a better life.
Kind of how it went, though.
Yeah.
You would always see about 2, 3, 4 of them right in a row.
That's right. So we're just reenacting real life.
I mean, that's what people were getting sick of.
That's right. Oh, that's true.
Especially when they were barely having enough to keep their TV on because, you know, people are hurting. Then all of a sudden the thing keeps coming on, and they go, how much are they spending on these things? Right.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people also have that concern in the back of their mind. Well, where is the money coming from outside of the state? And while certainly that's legitimate, and I think that many people who run for Congress get money from outside of the state. Again, it makes you wonder whose interests do they really represent?
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. That's why we have the problem in Congress. They're not representing us. They're representing the powers of the party and all those special interests that are giving them money to vote the way they want them to vote.
That's right, exactly.
That's what we have to change.
That's right. So let's take a look at another advertisement here.
I'm Jim, the election guy. I'll be around to help sort things out during this upcoming political campaign. Know her? That's Terrell Clark, candidate for Congress. And she's got a huge record for us to check out. I'm just getting started, but one thing's obvious. Terrell Clark loves taxes. She supported raising them every year she's been in office. And there's a lot more we can learn about taxing Terrell here. I'll be back soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a snappy one.
Yeah, well, this Jim election guy, when Bachmann wasn't showing up to these debates, I told one of the moderators, well, why don't you just invite Jim? I'd love to debate that guy. And then, you know, the problem that the Democrats ran into with a candidate, even though Terrell Clark's a sharp gal and a very good candidate, I think in the wrong district, but she had a record. And they're going to hammer that. Where Maureen Reed, that was challenging her in the primary, didn't have that record. She came from the private sector, a doctor, and very qualified.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And she wouldn't have had that baggage, you know. And she, you know, even though Maureen Reed dropped out 2 months before the primary, she still pulled 32% in the primary. That should have been a red flag that there's something going on in that party.
Exactly.
They weren't united.
You know, and I had the opportunity of talking to Dr. Reed during some of the DFL Senate conventions. Conventions. When, you know, before when she was trying to get the endorsement, whatever, and she did seem very thoughtful, very nice, very pleasant, genuine.
Yeah.
Truly genuine.
And she could raise a lot of money. She raised $800,000.
Wow.
Yeah. You look at, you know, I was the one still in the final race, only at 6,500.
Wow.
So I think my cost effectiveness was better. I was the fiscal frugal candidate.
That's
in that
right.
race.
If you figured out the cost per vote.
Because, you know, even with State Senator Clark's, I don't know what they ended up with. It's got to be 6 to 7 million, and then you figure that Maureen Reed's also had close to $1 million. That was not that far behind Bachmann.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have any idea that you would like to see with regard to campaign reform and the amount of money or how much money people can spend on their campaigns?
Well, see, the reason that's why I was so passionate about this time running, because I had that experience last time, and last time I spent $800 and I got 40,700 votes. Now, per vote, that was historic how much you're paying.
That's right.
So this time I spent 8 times that amount, okay? So I figure, well, if everybody talks about how money equates to votes, you got to spend all this money. Here I spent 8 times. I didn't need that 320,000 votes. I knew I only needed probably about 150,000 to 160,000. I thought I should win this thing in a landslide. But 8 times 800 is, you know, I was in that range, but that's not what you're going to get. So I think the reason that a person like myself could have made history, if I would have gone in, because I debated with these gals, and I don't think people saw too much of a. I held my own. And if somebody could do it without spending all those millions of dollars, it's going to open up. It's going to change the way we do it, because they're going to say, "Hey, this guy in Minnesota did it, and he didn't spend all those millions of dollars." And the message got out that, you know what? Let's recalibrate what we're spending on congressional races. This is a 2-year position,
right,
in one district. And if you don't live up to the expectations, you vote the person out. It's not like you're going to the Supreme Court. So people, if they really want to take a chance on trying something different, Congress is where to do it. And you should never spend that kind of money. If Congresswoman Bachmann had to spend $10 million to get reelected, she didn't do her job. You should run on your merits. You should go in there and work as hard as you can for those 2 years in your district. And when comes time to get reelected, if the people think you did a good job, you're going to get reelected.
Right.
And that would change the way we spend money on campaigns.
Exactly. I mean, it really is supposed to be the House of the people.
Yeah.
The people's representatives. And
now it's the best Congress money can buy.
Right.
And
and that's unfortunate. And so if there were indeed some type of caps on how much can be spent, or maybe some other revolutionary idea in that, you know, that there has to be the same amount of free advertisement for everybody that comes out of a general fund somewhere. That way, then people could get their message across, but they would be frugal in how they were spending their time, their energy, and the money that's been allotted for the particular endeavor of campaigning.
Well, and like we mentioned earlier about having debates, I say more debates, forums, and then let the advertisers buy money on those stations. So the stations are still getting their advertising dollars, but instead of getting them from the candidates, they're getting it from the sponsors. And then people have an opportunity to see us on TV, watch this debate, and the media is still getting their money because they're getting it from advertising. You know, Pepsi, McDonald's, whatever can have commercial spots on that. And then people would get fired up about, hey, let's watch these debates. Let's see what these people, how they act on their feet, how they handle these questions, how they handle the issues. Then they have an opportunity to see us, and they can't run and hide and spend all these millions on these commercials that are probably made in Washington, D.C. anyway. They're not getting the people here working on those commercials.
That's right.
You know?
That's
Most of them are produced in Washington, D.C., so let's keep the work here locally. And I mean, there's other ways you could do it. I just think that this money is what's corrupting everything. And it's a shame.
Right, exactly. Now, the viewers out there, of course, I encourage you to call in with any questions or comments or discussion points that you'd like to bring into this conversation. The number's on the screen, and that's the great thing about live public access TV is, well, you can be as if you're sitting here right at this table with Bob and I. Would that be fun?
Oh, that's the beautiful thing about this cable access, though, and I think it's underused. I'd like to see more candidates. I'd like to see more candidate forums, you know, and use this facility.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we could have live audiences in here.
Yes.
You know, so it's just I love cable access, and I always appreciate having a chance to come on your show, because when I used to do my own show, it's tough to be the host, the producer, you know, and getting everything lined up. So you got a great team with you, and when I come here tonight, everything's all set up. You got the set, you got the lights. I sit down. Now that was nice.
That's right. You just sit down, stick on the mic, and we're ready to go.
That is really a treat for somebody that, you know, does the show themselves too. You know, so
that's exactly it. And I know some of the viewers out there might be thinking about maybe some of the other candidates that they saw on my show here, wondering how they did. So I'll give them an update on
give them
those
an update
too. Now, of course, for the city of Grant, I had Scott Fogelson and Steve Bonin. Both of them had been on the program, and wouldn't you know, both of them won. Isn't that amazing?
I know next time I'm going to get on your show before the election.
They had a little party yesterday in the evening after the votes came in, and they were all a very excited bunch. And actually, there's a group of citizens in the city of Grant that are getting certified here through the studio, and they're going to be putting on a program that's going to be basically all around Grant.
Well, that's great.
And so they're just invigorated and excited about the fact that, you know, they've you know, got some new blood on well, one's an incumbent and also some new blood on the council. Plus, now this is going to be an opportunity, now that they've discovered public access TV, to be able to talk about, you know, the horse shows that are going on, and what the 4-H kids are doing, and all these things that are happening in Grant, just only, what, about 10 miles from here. Isn't that amazing?
Well, and then to tell them, you know, because we have the Nano Studio too, they can always come up and you know, publicize some event they've got coming on that Thursday night and get it out there on open mic. You know, that's another thing I think it gets underused. If we have more people promoting events and things going on, that's a great way to get your message out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's all set up. You show up, and just like this, you know, for somebody who doesn't have a crew, it's a perfect. Jeffrey Sovereign's the one we got to get in that Nano Studio. I hope he's watching tonight.
And then, of course, is Community Talk Live, which comes on right before this program. I believe it's from 6 to 7 o'clock on Wednesday evenings. Then, of course, about a year or so ago, I had actually David Schultz on the program, who was running for Ramsey County Attorney. He had a close race. Unfortunately, he didn't win. So that was kind of a sad day in my book. But, you know, Troy won, and Troy's a fine attorney, too. So you know, I guess when you have two good candidates to choose from, well, you know,
there's a lot of you attorneys in these races.
I had my preference, you know. And then, of course, I had Senator Dayton on my program, and it seems like there might be a recount for that one. So here you go. I've got a few winners, a few losers, and a recount. So everything has been here.
Well, did either Tom Emmer or Tom Horner come on your show?
No.
I bet they're wishing they would have now. If Dayton wins, that's,
well,
you know.
I think, let's see, I'm trying to think. I don't know that an invitation was sent to Tom Horner, because we had the other fellow on, which I'm sorry, I can't remember his name now.
Oh, Rob Hahn?
Yes, that's right. That's right. We had him on, and that was before the primary. And there had been an invitation to the Emmer group, but I never heard back.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
I guess. That's right. That's right. Oh, and of course we had Annie Young, who was running for state auditor.